Today, we will discuss how to legally write off travel expenses for federal income tax purposes. My name is Chad Cummings, and I am an attorney and a certified public accountant serving clients in matters of business, tax, and commercial law throughout the states of Florida and Texas. I am Chief Executive Officer of the firm Cummings and Cummings Law. I also teach business law at Florida Gulf Coast University and hold 4 degrees, including 2 law degrees, and a variety of tax, financial, and accounting credentials, which I apply for the benefit of my clients in my practice of law. Our firm website is www.cummings.law. Travel expenses can be a significant deduction for businesses and self-employed individuals. However, understanding what constitutes a legitimate travel expense is crucial to ensure compliance with tax laws. The Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, provides specific guidelines on what can be considered a deductible travel expense. These include costs related to transportation, lodging, meals, and other incidental expenses incurred while traveling for business purposes. It is important to realize that not all travel expenses will qualify for a deduction. The travel must be primarily for business purposes, and personal travel expenses are generally not deductible, with certain exceptions. This distinction can be complex, and the IRS scrutinizes these deductions very closely. Therefore, it is strongly advisable to consult with a professional to navigate the intricacies of tax law and ensure that your deductions are legitimate and well documented. Transportation costs are a common travel expense that businesses often seek to deduct. These costs include airfare, train tickets, car rentals, and even mileage if you utilize your personal vehicle for business travel. The IRS allows deductions for the actual cost of transportation so long as the travel is primarily for business purposes. When deducting transportation costs, it is essential to maintain detailed records. This includes receipts, itineraries, and any other documentation that can be used to substantiate the business purpose of the trip. Additionally, if you combine business and personal travel, only the portion of the transportation cost attributable to the business purpose is deductible. This can be a complex calculation, and professional guidance is indispensable. Lodging expenses incurred while traveling for business are generally deductible. These expenses must be reasonable and necessary, and the IRS expects taxpayers to exercise prudence in their spending. Lavish or extravagant accommodations may not necessarily qualify for a full deduction, and the IRS may disallow such expenses if they are deemed excessive. To maximize lodging deductions, it is crucial to keep detailed records, including receipts and any documentation which supports the business purpose of the stay. If you share accommodations with a non-business traveler, only the portion of the lodging expense directly related to the business traveler is deductible. This requires careful documentation and a crystallized understanding of IRS guidelines, which can be facilitated by consulting with a knowledgeable CPA or tax attorney. Meal expenses incurred during business travel are subject to specific limitations. Generally, the IRS allows a deduction of 50% of the cost of meals, provided they are directly related to the conduct of the business. This rule applies to meals consumed while traveling away from home on business, as well as meals with clients or business associates. To ensure strict compliance with the so-called 50% rule, it is important to maintain detailed records of meal expenses, including receipts and notes on the business purpose of each meal. The IRS may disallow deductions if the documentation is inadequate or if the expenses are deemed excessive. Given the complexity of these rules, seeking the advice of an experienced attorney and CPA can help ensure that your meal deductions are accurate and properly documented. Incidental expenses are minor costs incurred during business travel that can also be legitimately deducted. These expenses include, for example, tips for service providers, fees for baggage handling, and other small costs routinely associated with travel. While these expenses may seem insignificant on their own, they can add up over time and contribute to your overall travel expense deductions. To qualify for a deduction, incidental expenses must be reasonable and directly related to business travel. As with other travel expenses, maintaining detailed records is essential. This includes keeping receipts and documenting the business purpose of each expense. Given the potential for oversight, consulting with a professional can help ensure that your incidental expense deductions are accurate and compliant with IRS guidelines. Combining business and personal travel is a common practice, but it necessitates careful consideration to ensure consistent compliance with tax law. The IRS allows deductions for business travel expenses only, and any personal travel expenses are generally not deductible. This distinction can be nuanced and complex, especially when business and personal travel overlap. To navigate this complexity, it is important to allocate expenses accurately between business and personal travel. This may involve prorating costs based on the number of days spent on business activities versus personal activities. Detailed documentation is crucial, and professional guidance can help ensure that your allocations are accurate and compliant with IRS regulations. As I've mentioned several times now, proper documentation is critical when deducting travel expenses. The IRS requires detailed records to substantiate the business purpose of each expense, and inadequate or incomplete documentation can lead to disallowed deductions. Best practices for maintaining travel expenses include keeping receipts, maintaining a travel diary, and recording the business purpose of each expense. In addition to physical receipts, you may also consider utilizing digital tools to organize and store your documentation. Many apps and software solutions are available to help streamline this process and ensure that your records are comprehensive and easily accessible. Given the importance of accurate documentation, consulting with an experienced attorney and CPA can provide valuable insights and help ensure that your travel expense deductions are well supported. There are several common misconceptions about travel expense deductions that can lead to errors and potential issues with the IRS. One misconception is that all travel expenses are automatically deductible regardless of their nature. This is not true. In reality, only expenses directly related to business activities qualify for a deduction, and personal expenses are generally not deductible, as I said before. Another common misconception is that lavish or extravagant expenses will always be fully deductible. This is not the case. The IRS expects taxpayers to exercise prudence in their spending, and excessive expenses may be disallowed. Understanding these textured nuances is crucial, and consulting with a knowledgeable professional can help clarify these misconceptions and ensure compliance with tax laws. The complexity of travel expense deductions underscores the importance of seeking professional guidance. Tax laws are intricate, and even seemingly simple matters can involve complicated rules and regulations. An experienced professional can provide valuable insights and help navigate the complexities of tax law to ensure that your travel expense deductions are accurate and consistently compliant. By working with a professional, you can gain a deeper understanding of the rules governing expense deductions in this context and avoid common pitfalls. Whether you are a business owner, self-employed individual, or employee, professional guidance can help you maximize your deductions and minimize the risk of issues with the IRS. Again, my name is Chad Cummings, and I hope that you found this information helpful. As always, the information in this video is general in nature and is not legal advice because legal advice, by definition, must be specific to a particular set of facts and circumstances. Should you have any questions regarding this information or the content of any of my earlier videos, please visit my firm website at www.cummings.law, not .com, but .law to schedule time for consultation. I look forward to the opportunity to speak with and perhaps even work with you very soon.